future, enterprise integration and innovation with the Soulverse ecosystem. So before we begin this session, a couple of announcements to the audience present here. We'll be glad to issue a blockchain power certificate that affirms your successful participation for this program. So for that, you just need to fill a feedback form that will be shared with you in the middle of this session. And now let us welcome our speaker for the day, Ms. Anusha Garg.
Hi guys.
So, Anusha, we'll be just giving you a brief intro to the audience about you. So, Anusha is a blockchain solution architect at Soulverse ecosystem, and she has a incredible experience in self-sovereign identity. She's also specialized in decentralized and centralized exchange architectures. And also, she has excelled as a SSI and decentralized system expert and blockchain project manager. So, without further ado, Anusha, over to you.
Thank you, Nilima. So, hi guys. This is Anusha. Today, I'm gonna talk somewhere about something about Soulverse and how blockchain innovation is gonna work out. So, Nilima, can you share me the rights to share my screen? Just let me know once you've done it. It still shows me disabled.
Give us a moment,
Yes.
Anusha. Just Anusha, I think you can share it now.
Yes, I can. Thank you. Just okay. So, just without doing any further ado, we'll start. So, hi guys, this is Anusha. I work at Soulverse, and today we're going to discuss about building Web3's future, enterprise integrations, and innovation with the Soulverse ecosystem. So that's it. This is just me. I have around 7 years of experience into blockchain. Have been working into different roles, but I think my primary role has always been to architect solutions around the blockchain framework, wherein people come to me and ask me how to do it, and that's where I stand and answer how to do it and how to go about it. So that is me. So we'll go very quick around what Web3 is and where we're leading with Web3 or what is SSI. And then maybe quickly we'll go to the integration side and what Solverse is doing around it. So we'll start with what is Web3. So in Gen Z attributes, it's that rebellious teenager of the internet, which is the talk of the town. So if Web 1 was the nerdy kid who was static, read only, and kind of boring. Uh, then came Web 2, which was more of a cool influencer, social, interactive, but with a dark side, wherein our data was being logged up and being shared without our consent. And then, after identifying these issues with Web 2, came in Web 3, which is a wild child, where there is no regulation that can, send our data across, but there is regulation which can maintain the decentralized, independent, and finally, where the control is. The control is with the users rather than being with the centralized authority. So that is somewhere how Web3 is staged. But then the question comes, why Web3? So basically, it's because I think the old internet is somewhere obsolete. So, like, an example is, why would you want to stay as a tenant in Web 2? When in Web 3, you can be the owner. You've got your own keys. You decide who gets in, who does not, who gets your data, who does not, who does what. You get to know it without knowing the owner of it. So you keep the value. What does Web3? Why Web3 more? Because it gives power to people. There's no middleman. You earn while you sleep. If you have some mining rig running, or if you were, you've invested somewhere, etc., and you own your assets digitally on your own. So basically, it's somewhere like, why let Spotify keep all the royalties when Web3 platforms like Audius lets the artist keep 90% of the revenue? I pay, I think, around 300 or every month to Spotify. But where is this money going? Only to Spotify, right? So basically, Web3 is freedom plus ownership plus money. So if we look into the enterprise section, what do we feel that where is Web3 shaping up? Which industry is Web3 shaping up? So I think it's hard to point out industries where Web3 is not present. We've done use cases for entertainment, automobiles, banking, sports, e-commerce, real estate, education, energy, finance, you name it, and Web3 has crept there. Though in most of these situations, still we might be in POC stage where because the legacy systems are not ready to accept us, but still we are there. They know our hype and they know that we can do stuff. So where we're heading, the future with AI, identity, and finance on blockchain. So basically, we've decentralized identity, which helps us to eliminate passwords, centralized KYC, centralized documentation, etc. Then we have AI-driven fraud detection methodologies, which are smarter, have faster risk analysis. We have blockchain powered finance, DeFi, etc., where we're encouraging transparent banking. Cross border transactions have been made easy and in real time. So then obviously there's data privacy and cybersecurity, because with blockchain, obviously the first use case is that we enhance the security. Then there is AI and blockchain integration for smarter automated systems, which I think we all have, tried our hands at. And then obviously with government adoption that today we are seeing how it's driving for digital ID, be it land registries, be it for healthcare, where government wants blockchain-based solutions. So coming to the topic of SSI, where we work at. So what is SSI and why is there a shift to SSI? So, in context, SSI basically is a decentralized identity model. Everybody understands it. But what was the need for SSI? The need for SSI is that our credentials are everywhere. Me, for one person, I think since morning I've got around 15 spam calls. But how did they get my data, right? That is because my data was sold and marketed to them. And who gave them access? I don't know who gave them access. I might have signed up for some page and they gave my access to them. But whatever it is, my data was shared. Did I get revenue from it? No. Did I get harassed by it? Yes. So basically, the need to see that the or identify this problem was identified by DIF and SSI, that we need to shift to a model where the ownership of this data falls with the user itself. So came in the idea of SSI, that is self-sovereign identity. So at self-sovereign identity, we make use of DIDs as addresses and VCs as claims to prove one's identity. What are the benefits? No singular authority control, no more security breaches, and users have control of their credentials. They know whom they are sharing their credentials with, and whatever data they want to share, they reveal only that much. So the problem with the centralized redundant identity systems somewhere was that centralized database can be hacked. There's hacks, leaks, loss of control. If I share a credential, it just goes everywhere. Repetitive KYCs. Every year you have to do a KYC again and again. Every year you have to do a KYC for a bank. But if you apply to an organization, a college, an institute, you go for a health checkup or you go for a new aid from the government, you have to get a KYC done again. What is the use of getting this KYC done n number of times? Today I apply for 10 jobs. I have to do a KYC 10 times. Why? Why is it required so much? Lack of interoperability. So basically, banks cannot talk to banks this way for KYCs. Institutes cannot talk to banks. So there is a division between industry and between the industry itself as well, wherein platforms do not share this data with each other or are not able to share, not able to verify this data. So when SSI came in, the chaos turned into control, wherein decentralized identifiers were there to give anonymity to the users. Verifiable credentials were there so that users can prove themselves at different places without having to fill magnanimous amount of forms and KYC forms. And if once the KYC is processed at X organization, they can share it with Y organization easily. Then blockchain based trust. That is, no central authority is needed to verify you. Once you've got a claim from some organization, you can verify it at n number of places, and those organizations do not have to get back to your issuer. So before I dive into more into SSI, I want you to first understand or have a broader understanding of what the wallet systems is, because I think that becomes a very basic or the edge of our conversation today, because Soulverse has a primary product which is a wallet, right? So basically what a wallet is, obviously we've all tried MetaMask, we might have tried some credential wallets as well. So basically a wallet is a digital tool to store, manage and interact with blockchain assets, right? It holds our private keys, and we can see our currency there, we can process some transactions. Why do we need it? Obviously, first we need it to to have an identity on the Web3 world, and second is we need an interface like MetaMask to process transactions, to see our credentials, to see our assets, etc. How does it work? It would store your keys, private and public keys for security, connects to a DApp, like DeFi applications, services that you can get from blockchain, some exchanges maybe, etc. Identity platforms, obviously, or to some organizations who are Web3 savvy. So to connect to them and process your transactions, and gives you full control over your data. So in the crux of it, what are wallets? Wallets are basically our identity into the Web3 world. And basically, they are just an interface to show your currencies. And third is that they will help you process transactions of any kind. You want identity, they'll help you get identity by processing a transaction. You want to get a asset, they'll help you process the transaction. You want to transfer a asset, they'll help you process the transaction. That is what wallets do. So now let's cover up some key concepts into SSI. Just a very basic, because I know most of you might be aware about what are the basics in SSI. Just a gist of it. So basically, SSI starts with DIDs, right? Decentralized identifiers. In normal ledgers or in every ledger, we have something known as addresses, public keys and private keys, right? In this case, we have something known as DIDs. DIDs are formed by your public key of the ledger itself. So it's a uniquely verifiable digital identity without any central authority. So it's issued on a ledger. Basically, it's kind of your identity on a particular credential based ledger. If you have an Ethereum ledger, you would have something known as did ETH something and your address or something, whichever provider you're using. If you're based on maybe Indy, then you might have something known as did web something, did key something, did Indy something. And if you're based on maybe Polygon or Matic Ledger, then you might have did Polygon and an address or something. So that is how the decentralized identifiers are. These are basically identities which are recognized by agents. So what are agents? Agents are softwares that acts on the behalf of the users to manage identity interactions. So basically, how will you and me interact in the world of SSI is basically not directly. We both will be having two agents running, one on your device, one on my device, and that is how the interaction will happen. It is not between you and me directly, it's between two individual agents running on two individual devices. Then we come up to a fact that how will your agent recognize that I sent you a request? Because it's just a request. How will it identify? Does it need a centralized server to identify it? So therein comes something known as mediators. Mediators help route the secure messages between two identity holders. Can be between an organization and a user, or can be between a user and user. So we use something known as mediator to help route these secure messages. But how do these routes work out between the mediator and agents to mediators? That's by using something known as DITCOM. We do not consume REST APIs in case of SSI. We use DITCOM communication because we want it to be truly decentralized. So basically, it's a messaging layer for identity interactions. If you want to issue something, if you want to issue a credential, if you want to verify a credential, if you want to revoke a credential, everything will be in the form of a DITCOM communication, which will be relayed from the agent to a mediator, mediator to the second agent. Then coming to the point, what is a credential? So credential basically is any collaboration of your claims. For example, Aadhaar card. That is our hard wired credential, which has been issued by UIDAI. A credential is basically a set of claims that proves our identity. My credential will have my name, claim of my name, that my name is Anusha Garg. Claim of my age, that I was born on this date, so I am this years old. Claim of maybe my mobile number or my address and maybe my father's name. So different situations will have different kind of credentials. Now, what is a verifiable credential? When this digital credential is issued by a verified authority or an agent again from an organization that is under maybe a trusted system, then it's a verifiable credential. Tomorrow, I can share this credential or this claim with somebody else without the involvement of an issuer. That is what a verifiable credential is. What do you mean by proof generation? Next would be, what do you mean by proof generation, right? So in proof generation section, we'll refer to something as, today I have a set of claims, a set of 5 claims maybe, and I want to apply for a job wherein these claims are necessary. Today I share a photocopy of my Aadhaar card with my signature at the bottom. That this is best to my knowledge, my information. In the similar, but the organization will take time to get it verified from UIDAI that is it valid or not. But how can I do it but can I do it in the SSI format? Yes. I can just have that one credential on my device. The QR code appears on the organization's website. I scan it and done. I am done. And they got a verification that yes, it is from UIDAI and it is an authentic Aadhaar card. Then finally, what is a trust registry? So in every blockchain environment, there is a governance mechanism. So in SSI as well, there is a concept known as trust lists and trust registries, which helps us to establish that governance in the whole network. This trust registry is independently run by organizations to verify that whoever is coming inside is authentic and real. For example, if you go to the EU model, European Union model, you'll see something known as Trust Services API. under which you will find a lot of organizations that have been registered. You might have seen, if you follow SSI, you might have seen under EU that this company became EU GDPR compliant under the SSI rules. So this happens because they become a member of their trust registries. So we'll talk about it a bit later, that how these things happen, why these things happen. First, we'll understand what the SSI trust triangle is at a very core level. So obviously, like all trust triangles, there are three entities. One is an issuer, other would be a verifier, and one would be a holder. Now, why is this? How is this trust established, and how does this work out? If you see my screen now, so for example, there is an issuer and a verifier. They two come to a trust framework. For example, inside the Soulverse ecosystem, they both come and they say that we want to become, we want to become official Soulverse members. They come, we provide them with with an ecosystem, and we give them two agents to start with. That helps them to write their dids on the ledger. That is where their setup is completed. Now, an issuer wants to issue, for example, the issuer is RTO. And RTO wants to issue a license to a holder. So after the exam is done, your driving license exam is done, etc., RTO just sends you a QR code to scan, and the citizen just after submitting the documents, etc., scans that QR code, and RTO issues a credential to them. After this credential is issued to your holder, now the holder owns the driving license on his mobile. Now, for example, he wants to appear for maybe goes to apply for passport, or wants to go and apply for some other organization where his age verification is required, or maybe get a bank to a bank and open a bank account. He just wants an age verification, which can be done based on his license. Goes there, the company or the verifier, they've also been registered, or their did has also been written on the blockchain ledger. They send him a proof request that's again in the form of a QR code. The person scans that QR code and presents the proof of license to the company. The company can verify the proof and also verify who the issuer is by looking into the blockchain ledger and resolving their dids. This helps them to realize that, okay, this is coming from a legal issuer and it's the correct credential. And they can verify the holder saying, yes, you're authenticated above 18, maybe something like that, or whatever verification is required. It's as easy as that and happens in real time. So that is how your trust registry works, and how the blockchain ledger helps interacting between an issuer, verifier, and a holder. So jumping back to where the Soulverse ecosystem looks like and how it sits. The Soulverse ecosystem for us is broadly divided into two sectors. That is the application, which is a React Native based application, which is available on Play Store and App Store, which is available for Play Store and App Store both. And also an organization setup, which is a set of backend services running independently for every organization. So we have clean distinction between two services. One is for individual users and one is for enterprises. To help support these services, we have five distinctive features. One is the Soul Wrapper, that is there to provide interoperability between cryptos, between DIDs, between credentials, etc. A layer of security with SoulScan, Super Wallet, that is for individual use, Soul ID, that's one ID for all, and Sologram, that is our venture into the metaverse, which is a digital avatar for selective sharing of data. What do we solve with these? With Soul Wrapper, we solve interoperability. With Soul ID, we target the security and privacy. With Sologram, again, we target the security and privacy and also provide accessibility. With SoulScan, we give accessibility, and with Soul Wallet, we also give accessibility. So discuss the architecture of these applications a bit and from where the security of these structures come out. So in the words of Bruce Steiner, security is not a product, it's a process that begins with architecture. So since I am an architect, I think I targeted more towards this side, wherein this is how somewhere the Soulverse architecture looks like. We have a trust registry framework wherein multitude of organizations are registered in the Soulverse ecosystem, and the individual users will carry their application on their multitude of devices. It can be Android or iOS devices. How the interaction works? So, like we've discussed, it's a completely decentralized interaction, which will be based on DITCOM communication. It can be from organization to organization, or it can be from organization to an individual. Breaking down the Soul Super Wallet a bit first. So, how is a Soul Super Wallet? So, we've constructed a Soul Super Wallet into two phases. One is the mobile application, and one is for the backend, for the enterprises. So, Soul Super Wallet is one wallet for all Web3 needs. The wallet's architecture is designed with decentralized as a primary requirement to enable individuals with utmost security. The Soul Super Wallet carefully is a carefully drafted application that is easy to use for both Web2 natives and Web3 natives, which is very important for people to derive interaction from for users from users, so that they feel that this application is for them. We've minimal backend interactions to help prevent man in the middle and DDoS attacks, and we do not use passwords at all, and ensure no backing up of passwords as well, so that no loss of data or no hacks can be there, so that data can be lost. So as I've already told, that it exists as an application both on Play Store and App Store for individuals and individuals, assets, and IoT sensors. And for enterprises, we have a cloud-based super wallet that is made available to them, and that would be managed on their cloud infrastructure to ensure security, decentralization, and minimal data sharing. So basically, it's to maintain that the data is not at all redundant or not stored at multiple places. Then coming to Soul ID. What is a Soul ID? So basically, when we were thinking of a product with Soul Wallet, we were thinking, why is it required for the users to remember multiple IDs to communicate with the ecosystem? That is why we came up with the idea of Soul Wallet. The mission statement itself states it's one ID for all. It aims to simplify the Web3 wallet world and eventually the real world as well for the users, where Soulverse envisions to have Soul ID as one ID for all needs. So, what does Soul ID help out with? Soul ID helps users to hold multiple wallets without needing to remember multiple keys and IDs, and also supports key rotation. And Soul ID ensures that keys never leave the application environment, making the wallet super secure. What is SoulScan? SoulScan is a biometric edition, which is a biometric based registration login mechanism that caters only to Soul Super Wallet for now. SoulScan will not only help the users to register themselves, login, but also recovery. So basically, we've targeted all the three basic interactions the user will have. That is for registration, login, and recovery using SoulScan. It will also help them sign the transactions, which we currently do by sharing the private keys. It will approve proof requests and accept credentials, making their day-to-day tasks easier and system efficient. SoulScan is the first layer of security for us, for all individuals, because SoulScan is primarily only for individuals and not enterprises. And SoulScan enables users to enjoy a truly passwordless experience, eliminating the need to remember passwords. Coming or drifting to Sologram. So Sologram is our new venture. So Sologram will be somewhere our take into metaverse. So when we were thinking about Sologram, our thoughts were like, you know, sharing data like this is so boring. People need some metaverse thing coming around. So that is where our Sologram comes in. Sologram is our venture into metaverse, which would enable people to create individual avatars that would be tied to their identity, their most used identity, or the identity they choose to tie it with. Sologram, on one hand, will allow users to add some personalization on the front of the application, while on the other hand, will provide them ease to share their credentials. Now, we'll discuss about how this design or the high level architecture of this is secure. So the entire system, like I've already mentioned, has been split into two separate modules, one for enterprise and one for mobile application, which was designed keeping in mind that it needs to be as decentralized and as modular as possible. The system is built on Nest.js framework for the backend and React Native side for the mobile application, using all the security fronts. We're not using REST API based communication. Rather, we are focusing on DITCOM based communication for security purposes. And the foundation has been designed with microservice architecture for modularity and scalability. What are the security considerations while designing this architecture? First is end-to-end security, end-to-end encryption. Second would be the zero trust architecture because we're basing it on blockchain. Third is the use of decentralized identity or SSI as the base for all identity verification and issuance. Access control and giving least privileges because we don't have any data. How do we give privilege? Then rate limiting and threat detection, an adequate mechanism with proper checks for backup and recovery as well.
Welcome to the Soul Wallet.
Here's a small demo of the Soul Wallet.
Welcome to the Soul Wallet app demo for educational institutions. Today, we're diving into how the Soul Wallet app fits seamlessly into your university's daily life. First stop, the application process. The student starts by downloading the Soul Wallet app from either the Google or Apple Store. Think of it as a super wallet. It doesn't just store cryptocurrencies and NFTs, but also safely stores all the university creds a student needs, plus anything else that's Soulverse enabled. Let's walk through the process step by step. After the student has downloaded the app, they can sign up and kick things off with a real-time facial scan for authentication. Thanks to a neat piece of tech we developed with IIT Hyderabad, we're talking about real-time vector generation here. Next, the student is asked to name their Soul ID. Think of it as a unique username within the Soul Wallet app. Time for a little field trip. The student heads over to the university or meets an agent to apply and verify their documents as it usually happens. They provide their Soul ID along with the paperwork. The university or agent will check the documents, verify them, and will map the results with the provided Soul ID. The student's application is completed and can now access admission credentials from anywhere. After completing the application process, the student is ready to receive their admission credentials. The student visits the university's website, which offers detailed information about the university, its programs, and courses, along with the option to obtain verifiable credentials. The student selects Access Now, which directs them to the credentials page. Here, the student needs to obtain the admission VCs. It's worth noting that other VCs are disabled at this stage since the top-level VC is not yet connected. A QR code is then displayed on the screen. This is the moment for the student to take out their phone and open the Soul Wallet app. Upon opening, the app prompts the student to log in using facial biometrics for secure authentication. Once logged in, the student can tap on the Scan button in the bottom menu to scan the QR code displayed on the website. Scanning the QR code triggers a connection request, and the admission credentials are sent to the student's wallet. The student accepts the request, and the connection is successfully established. The university's verifiable credential is now stored in the student's Soul Wallet, enabling access to services and verification processes required for their educational journey. With this credential, other credentials become accessible as well. Next up, let's secure that library card. Simply click on the Library Card VC option. A QR code will pop up, mirroring the process you're already familiar with. Scan the QR code. This time, the system automatically checks if you have the necessary admission VCs before proceeding. Once confirmed, you can accept the library VCs, and just like that, you've bagged another set of VCs. Now let's handle the college fees using the Soul Wallet app. Hit the Pay Now button, and you guessed it, another QR code appears. Scan this QR code, and a payment request will pop up on your Soul Wallet app. Go ahead and accept the payment request. Choose to pay the college fee in SoulX. We have made it easy for one to buy Soul Coins via a payment screen. Once the transaction is complete, the paid fee will appear as another credential in your Soul Wallet. This streamlined process shows how the Soul Wallet app not only stores but also manages and verifies your credentials effortlessly. And there you have it. This isn't just a digital wallet. It's a revolution in how universities operate.
Before it restarts. So that is our take into how we handle the use cases uh, on the front of education with Soul Wallet integrated. But now I have something interesting for everybody here. So basically, we've designed just a use case for everybody, a case study. We will help you out with the solution after this, but we want everybody to think about the solution for 5 minutes to this problem. So here we have Miss Jules. Miss Jules is a seasoned entrepreneur with 25 years of experience running a thriving global e-commerce business. With teams spread across multiple regions, she managed a complex ecosystem involving security, product and inventory management, payment coordination, risk management, security audits, and compliance with regional KYC and AML regulations. So basically, Miss Jules has a very complex system running at her side. So Miss Jules recently realized that her current system needs an upgrade. To handle these growing complexities more efficiently, she's now looking to implement a cutting edge blockchain based solution to streamline her operations, enhance security, and simplify day to day management. So, how would you pitch a solution to her? What would you take as a solution to her based on your blockchain knowledge? And what all can you suggest? That is the question under radar for today. So, basically, we need to suggest her a solution. So, one by one, we'll start doing this. So, first, whenever we think of how to do a solution, or whenever I target a solution, first part of solutioning is wherein we think of what the problem actually is. So in here, we can identify a set of 5 problems with her current system. First is definitely we've all seen fake reviews and seller frauds. There's difficulty in verifying seller authenticity, leads to counterfeited goods, misleading reviews, etc. How can we help her detect? How can we help her detect those and resist those? Second would be the payment delays and high fees. There are cross, since her network is global, there will be cross border payments. So that means some SWIFT transfers, etc. involved. How will we do those currency conversions? How will the intermediary banks behave? And how will we boycott those high transaction fees that are involved? Then, obviously, the most common one there is consumer identity theft. The centralized customer bases or the customer accounts are vulnerable to data breaches and hacking attempts. So we can target that as well. A fourth challenge could be somewhere with scalability in the Web2 services, how the traditional systems are struggling and, with growing demand, how we need to scale our AWS services to cater to them, etc. And the regulatory compliance. For example, we're running in India, we have different regulatory compliance, different tax verification requirements, etc. Whereas if we're in US, it would be a different story altogether. So to target this use case for Jules, we decided that we'll target first these 5 points to pitch to her that yes, blockchain is its solution for her problems. So one by one, we go through the problems in depth. First, decentralized identity for sellers and buyers. So basically, when I sign up to an e-commerce website, my email is there, my phone number is there, I make a payment, and now I exist on Amazon, but the multitude of people in my family who are running their application or running Amazon with my identity are also there. So if I don't make a review, maybe somebody else from the family made a review, but it goes with my name, right? And it can be a misleading review. So how do we handle all this? By using decentralized identifiers. We can issue decentralized identifiers or VCs, basically, at the crux, to every individual seller and buyer. The seller credentials like business license, quality certifications, tax IDs, etc. can be engulfed together in the VC and shared to them. And for the buyers, the identities can be verified through their wallets by reducing the need to store on a personal information centrally on the e-commerce server. So basically, what can be done with this is that we can streamline that who's doing what review, if that person is fake or not. Tomorrow, if I try to create a fake ID to put a review for the X product, I cannot, because my decentralized identity would be verified and I would fail that verification because I cannot make a fake ID anymore. Then for the sellers, they need to provide the quality checks, they need to provide the business license, etc., before they list their products. And tomorrow, if their products are turned out to be faulty, we can go back to them, or the e-commerce company can go back to them and target them saying, we think that your business license with us needs to be blacklisted because you're not providing adequate quality products to us. So first, we can solve this. Second, we can solve the streamlined authentication and fraud prevention. Buyers and sellers are using DITCOM-based communication. So no passwords are involved, no passwords are being shared anywhere. There are smart contracts linked to the DIDs, automatically can verify the seller reputation and the product authenticity before confirming the orders. Verified buyers and sellers receive a trusted badge, or maybe an asset, maybe an NFT you can issue, or maybe you can issue a credential or etc. to mark that badge. That can increase the transparency and confidence rather than only issuing the rating. And then coming to the payment settlement, we can have a crypto based payment settlement. How? Payments are made via stable coins, maybe USDC, USDT, or whatever platform they're consuming, maybe their tokens, to reduce the gas costs, to directly between the buyer and seller through a smart contract rather than going directly through one wallet to another. The smart contracts would automatically release the funds only after the delivery confirmation is recorded, maybe via an SSI based verification system that can be designed. There can be multi-currency support without the need for conversion. For example, if I'm paying from India using ETH, it can be received, maybe monitored through an exchange to that person in BTC as well, or through balancers and through dexes, etc. Then supply chain and delivery verification. Maybe like we have something under the Soulverse ecosystem which gives DIDs or decentralized identifiers for assets as well, and for IoT sensors as well. Something like that can be assigned to products as well. So shipping can be controlled, delivery credentials are issued upon dispatch, and after delivery, you can give them a delivery credential, which can help you verify that this product went from here to here in this time, real time, etc. Yes, delivered, correct, done. And then smart contracts can verify if the delivery and release of funds and release the funds automatically. So this is some of the solutions that we can identify to pitch to her, that these are your problems and these are the solutions we can pitch to you. Now we will also have to give her a sample flow, right? So for the sample flow, we'll give her that you can onboard your businesses. Now a buyer makes a purchase using crypto through a smart contract. The shipping, on the shipping side, a courier issues a delivery credential using SSI to the product. Settlement, smart contract verifies delivery and releases the funds in crypto. So once this reaches the individual consumer, the consumer maybe signs the transaction again and says and shares the credential again, says yes, got it, which goes to the smart contract. Smart contract verifies the delivery and releases the funds in crypto to the buyer. Now the buyer and seller credentials update based on the transaction update or the outcome. Send in the reviews. They can verify themselves by sending in the reviews, which will give you verified reviews there. And at the end, a decentralized arbitration network resolves disputes using cryptographically signed evidence from SSI. So basically, this flow stops here, wherein the dispute resolution is completed. So that is one of the flows we'll suggest to her. For the others, I think you people should also rack your brains around. I've given you one flow of how authentication and fraud prevention with supply chain delivery can work. You can rack your brains around the others as well. What will be the benefits? Now, in the next section that you will have to tell her is, what are the benefits of doing this? She needs to transform from a legacy system. She needs benefits. So, reduced fraud, lower payment fees, faster cross-border settlements, no centralized data breaches, global interoperability, and automated compliance. If that does not suffice her needs, then what should? We have one more section. We have the potential impact. So if you assess the potential impact in this use case, we might be able to reduce the transaction fees by 10 to 15%, 30 to 40% faster settlement times for resolution for queries or fights between sellers and users, 60% reduction in fraudulent listings because we're verifying every seller, 70% decrease in disputes and chargebacks. So basically, blockchain and e-commerce is equals to faster payments, trusted sellers, and global reach without friction. So that is how we would pitch to somebody a use case coming, just at random to us. This can be for today, I've displayed it in e-commerce and education. Tomorrow, you should be able to display it to me in maybe healthcare, in government organizations, etc. So I think that is it for me. This is Soulverse, and you can connect with us here.
Amazing presentation, Anusha. So we can move on to a Q&A session where the audience can ask the questions.
So
You all can unmute yourself, or if you have difficulty in unmuting, you can paste your comments or queries in the chat.
I did see somebody's hand up, but I cannot see it anymore.
Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Yes.
Ma'am, my question is, ma'am, you mentioned earlier that the Soul Wallet is designed to work in both Web2 and Web3 environments. How does it integrate with Web2 systems, and what value does it provide to the users in traditional platforms?
Okay. See, it's designed to work with Web 2, Web 3. Not so much. Like I did not mention that it's designed. It's designed in a way that it caters to the Web 2 individuals as well. Okay. So caters to the Web 2 individuals as well means, like, for example, if you're a Web 2 native and you're not used to cryptocurrency, you'll get confused while using the MetaMask application as to why do you want to add a network, what is a network, what is a test chain, what is this, what is that. That is made easier on the Soul Wallet for the users to understand. How we work out on the integration side with Web2 is we give Web2 an easy access. We do not make changes to their existing system. We just have the ability on our backend service to enhance their service or help them enhance their service. So basically, we're not taking their data. We don't take their data. We don't change their systems. We just integrate ours with theirs with a minimal amount of integration of around 4 to 5 APIs on their side. We just run some of our services on their cloud platforms and done. The integration is done. Now they're also Web3 compliant. And the users or the user base they have, they can also become Web3 compliant with this. So it's just we've just made the process easier for them to jump onto the Web3 or jump onto the Web3 train as well. And while taking care of the individual users also, that they should also not get derailed from it. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, ma'am. Understood. Thank you, ma'am.
Anushya, is it possible to talk about the way the login systems can interact with the Web2 platforms also? Right?
Yeah, correct. So like I mentioned, right, to the answer to the previous question, right, that how these interactions would work would be per use case basis. For example, if it is a banking application, they would be resistant to let go of their legacy systems go, right, and accept crypto based systems. So what is the least that they can expect so that they can get into the run of Web3? Maybe they can adopt a passwordless verification system. But then we already have so many passwordless authentication systems in Web 2 as well. So why would they adopt this? That is because This is easier to integrate, and this is their jump to Web3. So they just have to integrate maybe one issuance API and one verification API, and done. They can now provide all the users with an ability to have passwordless logins and passwordless logins, and they can also process their transactions using these. So it's as simple as that. I think there is somebody else who has a question here. I think Sujata has a question.
Hey, Anusha, good morning. I'm from New York, so it's like I've been listening from 4:30 from my time. A very good session. It's really highly technical. So my question would be like how you are managing the regulatory compliance part of it, especially like when it comes to GDPR, CCPA, CPRA, right? This is all deals with the privacy information. So how are you handling that?
Yeah. So
Maybe we
basically, yeah.
yeah.
So basically, when you jump from a centralized system to a decentralized system, the first aspect that changes is the anonymity that comes with it. That is, we do not store users' personal data or PII. It's a crime for us to store PII anywhere. So it's a commandment from SSI, you can say. There are 10 commandments from SSI. One of the very basic commandment is that user should be the one that has control over the data, not anybody else. No centralized authority, no authority at all. No issuance authority or verification authority should have control over this data. For example, today I register for a passport, okay, in India maybe. When I register for a passport, my data is held by the Passport Authority of India as well. They issue me a hard credential, but they're also holding my data somewhere. If tomorrow I go to some place, maybe a visa office, and I again apply for a visa there, they will also hold my passport information, correct? So my data is now held at two different places, and now these people have to make sure that they are GDPR compliant, and they keep my data safe and do not share it. But when they jump to an SSI based system, this data is with me. I can verify this data using cryptography and transactional hashes. My data is only with me, it's not even on the ledger. So they can only verify the transactional hashes and the cryptographical methodology behind it. They can verify that yes, this is the issuer, and that they trust the network to say that yes, this is correctly issued. That means this is correct information around it, and that is why the data does not travel much. And then we have something known as we destroy this data. Like the answer that will go to the visa office is yes, this person is this is her data, true, right? That is how we operate. We operate with ZKP. So we do not store any data, and that is why SSI systems are the ones that are GDPR compliant. They've got a certification as well, like multiple organizations who've already implemented their systems. They've already gotten the certification of being GDPR compliant, which is the toughest rule to, get an authentication of. So, but I think if you go through the system of European unions, it's known as GAIX, it's GDPR compliant system. It's a fully completed SSI ecosystem that's running in EU at certain levels. So they certify themselves as GDPR compliant, and they're also SSI based. So basically, with SSI, it's easier to become GDPR compliant.
So how is your blockchain integrated with third-party privacy tools, or like you try to manage it by yourself? Meaning like uh, I think there's a tool called OneTrust, right? That basically works on all this privacy um, data. So have you like an agent, or are you calling this tool through API, or like how are you integrating with this
Like
tool?
I mentioned, yeah, we only use DITCOM interactions. We do not use REST APIs to interact, to make the
Mm,
system secure and to make the transactions, between two
mhm.
agents only. They cannot be intercepted. So basically, like you mentioned, we're not using any third party provider to, ensure the privacy, because that also means sharing of data,
Right, right.
right?
Mhm.
We do not want to share data with anybody else except when the issuer is doing to the holder and the holder is doing to the verifier. That's it.
Mhm.
That is it, where the data exists in the communication, and for permanency, it issues in the user's personal device or the personal application, that is the Soul Wallet. So it will just exist there and nowhere else. So that makes it super secure. Until and unless I share it with somebody, nobody else can share it with anybody. That is how the principle of SSI and how the principle at Soulverse works.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any more questions from the audience?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi,
Yeah,
Ansu.
no,
Yes.
go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am, you already told about the biometric login. So the AI technology is getting improved day by day. So what is the biometric login can be spoofed, right? How will you overcome this?
See, like you said, AI is improving every day. Ours is also AI. It will also improve. It is a what you will say. It's a process of improving these services day by day to get better or to get ahead of ourselves, right? So we cannot I cannot tell you that how to do it, because that would be something, it will keep changing every day. Today maybe I have developed it in certain manner, tomorrow I will make it better, and day after I'll make it better. I'll train my AI agents, I'll train the data set, etc., to make it better. But every day the process will be different to train it, just to but yes, one thing is there definitely, that with some security checks on the user's personal device, we already are targeting to withhold these AI attacks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
For the audience, if you just missed to fill the feedback form, there is the feedback form in the chat. So do fill it to avail the blockchain powered certificate. And I think, Anusha, you have time to take some more questions.
Yeah, if somebody has, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have difficulty in speaking, you can just paste your comments in the or queries in the chat.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, Anushri.
Yeah, good afternoon.
First of all,
So,
everybody needs to stop calling me ma'am. They can call me Anusha. It's very easy that way.
yeah, I understand.
Hi, Anushri.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. My question is, how does Solvers plan to keep up with the changes in decentralized identity and make sure its solutions work well and stay useful in different industries?
Okay. So, Anushri, basically, the product that we're carrying today, right? We're carrying it with an interoperable layer as well. So, in any sense, like when we carry a product, right, we carry a service wing with it, but our product has been designed in such a way that we won't have to make any necessary changes into the application based on a certain consumer or a certain industry. This is a plug and play piece for every organization. So basically they take our plug and just they do the integration and start. We're not We would help them to make those certain changes, certain integrations on their end, but neither are we changing their system too much, nor would their use case change our ecosystem at all. That is how Solverse has been designed to just go and fit into every organization, be it web 2 or web 3. It just goes and sits there and helps them out or eases their work without making changes into their system.
Thank you. And I also had one more question.
Yes.
So while implementing this, did like how much challenges you faced, like in challenges you faced?
I think, see, obviously everybody faces challenges while developing a complex system, right? It ranges from day to day. At times, it would be, um, for me, mainly it was that I want to maintain the decentralization of the application and the backend system as well, as much as possible, to be relevant or to be true to the Web3 world, right? So I want to maintain it to be as decentralized as possible. And we've Kavita here. So me and Kavita are, there that, we want to have it as decentralized as possible. We do not want to put a centralization blanket over it, or, just it's centralized, but only a decentralized blanket is there to say. So for that, we've made the application, for that we've, I think, trained, first of all, whoever comes to us into decentralization, made them aware as to why decentralization is important, what are the pros and cons of centralization. And next is, I think, whenever people come to us and, we discuss about the product to them, the biggest challenge for us is to convince people that why legacy systems need an upgrade now, and now is the time for them to jump here and upgrade the systems. I think that would be the biggest challenge that we have.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I have a question that probably it will help everybody else also. Anusha, could you explain the theory behind the biometric scan, the soul scan, that, why it is designed the way it is designed, and how it will probably help, in the futuristic development of, solution? Probably will answer the previous question as well as to what we're doing to keep up with the industry. So do you think you could explain that as to how it is future proof, or what was the theory behind it?
Yeah, sure. So, okay, that gives me a tough spot to answer, but I'll try to answer as best as possible for everybody here.
Sure.
So, when I think when the idea of SoulScan came up, the idea behind SoulScan was to do away with those hefty mnemonics, or the idea to remember those hefty mnemonics, or to carry them maybe on a paper or on a drive or somewhere with us everywhere, so that tomorrow if we want to import our wallets, we need that mnemonic. So the idea was to do away with the mnemonics. Now, when people were thinking about doing away with the mnemonics, they came up with something called as passwords. That they were, adjusting to the passwords, and then maybe to a different place, you can again import a mnemonic and then make a new password and work it out. Now, then again, the user is the weak point here, and if they forget it, system is lost for them. That was becoming a problem, that is becoming an increasing problem, wherein people are dying and their keys are getting lost, etc., etc. Or people just share their passwords and then their data is lost. I think I have seen a few people around me who've bought BTC maybe somewhere in around 2018s or something, and now they some third party was handling their BTC, and they said, oh, we've shut the wallet now. And I'm like, how can you shut a Web3 wallet? Like, there is nothing known as shutting a Web3 wallet. It's just they never had the password. They just shared the password with the third party. So all these issues came together to form a syllogy for us that Web3 wallets can also have, or interfaces could also have an ability to generate these password based on the facial recognition and the biometric scans. That is where SoulScan was born. So SoulScan has the basic idea to evolve using AI into a structure or into a machine learning algorithm that can help regenerate these keys every time the user wants to register, login, or recover their wallets, and also while signing. So basically, we don't want to keep the keys, we don't want to keep anything with us anywhere. We want the user's face to be the recognition model here. So we went through a lot of iterations, I think, in the past 3 years for developing SoulScan. And now we've come to a very separate architecture of SoulScan, which we are continuously building on and making better. I cannot talk into the architecture in very detail, but this is how I think the development of SoulScan is working, and how we are working with AI agents to transform this SoulScan into a better service.
Thank you, Anisha. That was very insightful. Even hearing you speak as somebody who's been involved in it, it still walks us through the reasons on a very pertinent level. Everybody who's here learning about blockchain, I think needs to understand we need to solve the underlying problems first, than trying to build on top of the other technologies. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Anything else from anybody?
If we don't have any questions, then we shall wrap this session. So thank you so much, Anusha, for joining us here, for your time. And that was indeed a brainstorming session, actually, to say. And you can see from the audience responses that they have been really enjoying this session. And we wish you all the best for your future ventures. And thanks once again.
Thank you, Nalama. Thank you, everybody, for joining and listening to me.
Thank you. And thank you to the audience also for their overwhelming participation. And do subscribe to our channel, Kerala Blockchain Academy, for similar exciting events to come. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, KBA.